The psychology of communication says the following: we get from other people what we give to others. If you observe carefully, you will notice that this connection is quite transparent. It is commonly called the boomerang effect. Many people have heard about it, but not everyone believes that it really exists. A boomerang is understood to be a weapon that always returns after it is thrown. The reversibility of human actions was called the boomerang law. If he throws something into the world around him, then it will definitely come back to him. The main condition is a time delay. No one knows when the return will happen. We all throw hundreds of boomerangs every day. These are phrases, thoughts, actions, and emotions. But the psychology of this effect is that one day spent in negativity can cost us a lot. Thoughtless, hot words and desires have great power. Therefore, you must always control not only your behavior, but also your thoughts. If a person does something bad, he must understand that sooner or later he will attract something like this to himself. His personality psychology will change. The situation may be completely different. The circumstances should not be identical. But those who have acted dishonestly will face injustice. The boomerang law always works. This effect also works in relation to words. The psychology of relationships is that everything you say will turn against you if there was malicious intent. The word has a very strong energy, so it often materializes. Visualization plays an important role. When you say something unkind, images appear in your subconscious mind. Therefore, everything said in a hurry will return with the same potential and sometimes even much stronger. This is the psychology of the boomerang law. This is because the answer comes after a while. This gap can be so large that a person already forgets about what he did once. No one can name the exact date, but this is not a reason to overstep moral norms. At first glance, it is quite difficult to trace the pattern because there is no mathematical accuracy. The universe is playing a game that has one rule: you get what you give. Man cannot change this cycle. Even the most cynical person has thought about this question at least once in his life. Our world is arranged in a certain way. There are higher laws that everything that happens obeys. Ignorance, misunderstanding, or rejection of these laws does not cancel them. We can say that life is built on the principle of a school where we must learn wisdom, to know the laws of life and live in accordance with them in order to enjoy every moment of life. We live in a closed system in which all its parts are closely interconnected with each other and have mutual influence, so nothing is accidental and nothing goes unnoticed. The only thing that comes back to you is what you do to others. The golden rule from Buddhism: don't do to another what you don't want to yourself, is based on understanding this. Why is it difficult to understand? But because life here has time and the return does not come immediately. When you launch the boomerang, it needs time to fly away, reach the end point and return. And while he's flying, other boomerangs that were launched before come back to you. So in most cases, the mind cannot trace this causal relationship, and there is no understanding that nothing happens by chance. Everything is interconnected and natural. We need to understand that the troubles that are happening to us are not punishment from higher powers, but the result of our violation of these very divine laws. In other words, you were the cause of these troubles yourself. Understanding this is a fact, because I am responsible for what is happening to me. We create an opportunity for spiritual growth, learning, correcting your mistakes, and achieving the highest goal, happiness. The higher laws are absolutely just and harmonious. Egoism never allows you to see this. You are the reason for what is happening to you. You have to understand what it's like to do or have done to others. This is the only way you can learn wisdom and get a certificate of happiness. That's why the world works like this. Being offended or angry at a person who creates trouble for you is a mistake that leads to a strengthening of your own ego, which feeds on negativity. In this case, spiritual growth is impossible or hindered. The other person through whom the trouble came is not the source of this trouble, but only its conductor. Through him, life points out your own mistakes, asks you to think, realize, and draw the right conclusions. If this person had not been there, there would have been another, but the situation would have turned out the same. You need to learn a lesson from troubles. Unless, of course, we want to step on the same rake again. If the same trouble comes into your life over and over again, it means that you are stepping on the same rake again. Life is trying to teach us something, but we still don't learn. We don't think twice, preferring to blame anything. We don't draw the right conclusions and continue to do stupid things. So life has to teach us with the help of more and more harsh situations. It can go far and be more and more painful. Therefore, it is necessary to learn lessons from an unpleasant situation. The first step is to accept the situation as it is. Much has been said about this, but for this context, here is another aspect of acceptance. I have brought this into my life myself, with thoughts, words, and deeds. It is a position of responsibility that opens the door to wisdom. There is no other way to wisdom. Shifting responsibility to other people is a path of degradation, not spiritual growth. The second step, discovering your mistake, the cause of an unpleasant situation. A thorough analysis is needed here. Right away, you may not remember, understand, or realize exactly what your actions attracted this trouble, especially if it was not in this life. This is because the ego is trying to take advantage of this factor to stop analyzing the situation. But just remember, nothing is accidental. Think about what aspect of selfishness does life point you to through this person or situation. What negative or destructive character trait of another person causes you to react? Have you ever shown this aspect of ego towards someone? If something else causes you an unpleasant reaction, it means that you have it too. You need to find out that it was this character trait or installation, the program, that attracted the event into your life. Search and you will find it. The third step, the eradication of the discovered aspect of the ego. In life, this aspect of the ego can simply be monitored and realized, and gradually it will disappear. You can also purposefully manifest in life the opposite of this aspect, a positive character trait, a new attitude. Addition to the second step, the outside world is always a reflection of the inner world. Tell me how you see the world and I'll tell you who and what you are. We see in others only what is in ourselves. Trying to change someone else without changing yourself is a manifestation of ego, unreasonable selfishness, and as a rule this approach does not work, but generates even more lessons and suffering. Change yourself, others will change too. As a last resort, your attitude towards them will change, and it will stop bothering you, the problem will disappear. So if you want to change your life for the better, start with yourself, because the other options are always losing a priori. To better understand the above, you can work with the I wish you happiness technique. Work through to the end at least a few people with whom you most often come into contact in life and see how it works. Then it will be appropriate to work with the Thanksgiving technique. If you can't analyze and understand why trouble is happening, use these techniques. They don't require you to remember your past actions. The past itself will appear in the field of consciousness when you are ready for it. Just remember at least the very idea of nothing in our world is accidental, and this will significantly improve your path. Personality psychology is such that a person is ready to do good deeds for a reward. If you give a positive, you get a benefit. But it's not that simple. You need to do good sincerely, with a soul, then the universe will thank you. Try to analyze your life, your own psychology of relationships. Take each event apart bit by bit. Try to understand why it occurred. During the analysis, you will realize that the more good you did, the more generous the universe was to you. Negativity destroys the life and health of the person from whom it comes. His personality psychology changes. When people create the appearance of goodness, but they do not have sincere thoughts, actions cannot be called good. Observe the circumstances and try to understand how the law works in your life. If fate has given you few generous gifts, try to understand why this is happening. Perhaps you have not given love or affection to someone, so you yourself do not receive warmth and tenderness. If you don't have money, try to remember, maybe you once took someone else's. Such an analysis will help you sort out your life, but do not forget that the connection may be hidden. The advice of the best doctors in the field of psychology boils down to one thing: what you want to get yourself, then give it to people. If you do at least one good deed every day, then there will definitely be a result. The psychology of relationships is that when a person radiates goodness, it always comes back to him. In order not to become a victim of the boomerang, you need to follow the main rules. They will help you to appease the universe and avoid the blows of fate. Don't spread gossip and don't judge other people. You don't know what motivated their actions, what their psychology was, and what circumstances forced them to act in a certain way. Even in your mind, do not wish evil to others. This will affect your state of health. If they are guilty in front of you, then the boomerang law will definitely affect them. When you bring trouble to a person, some of the curses will come back to you. Do not harm others. The tears that someone will cry because of you will be sent to you after a while. The psychology of personality is such that a person tends to feel a sense of envy. But being angry, you will not succeed, but only blacken your soul and attract negativity. When you send anger, resentment, and bad thoughts into the universe, then expect a backlash. The boomerang may arrive on the same day or decades later. You should not relax. And for good deeds and kindness, you will be rewarded with spiritual or material benefits. This is the psychology of relationships.